I mean, it's easier to schedule if it's always one night, but then if something comes up, it's always that night.
Okay, how we doing?
So Andrew. Oh, I put your name tag away, but it's sitting right up there.
Yeah.
It is exactly on the dot.
You can sit anywhere you want.
Except over here.
It's terrible, except over here.
Ladies and gentlemen, it appears to be
sit up
7
there.
o'clock. So
Oh, okay.
I would like to call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. on March 2nd, 2022. Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you very much.
Paul's not on?
Oh, sorry, I should have checked. Do we have a quorum?
Oh, yeah, we have a
Yeah, we've
quorum.
got enough
We have
people in
plenty
the
of, I
room
was
even,
just
I
wondering
think.
where our
Okay.
newest, we have Josh. Hi.
Yep, so our second order of business today is welcome and introduction to our new board members. So Josh is here with us, so welcome, Josh.
Thank you.
We appreciate you representing Tinmouth. Welcome to the board. Paul Garland is representing Wallingford. I don't believe Paul is able to attend tonight, even virtually, so we'll meet Paul when he's able to be with us. But welcome as well to Paul. Thank you for representing Wallingford. And if I can make a quick comment here, I do want to thank all of our wonderful folks who were staffing the polls and working in our towns. I think town meeting day is an incredible thing that we have here in Vermont. Thanks to Crystal Usher, who was running the ballot counting here and doing that work for us. We appreciate all that work, and everybody who runs for the board, we appreciate having as many people participate as possible. It helps us do this work. So, next item we have is board reorganization. So, on our agenda, the first thing we will be looking at is selecting a chair for the board.
It's not on.
So I will open the floor for nominations for chair. Matt?
I'd like to nominate Len Doucette.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Do that. Second.
Okay. And we don't need discussion on nominations. I see a hand from Liz.
Yeah, sorry.
Nope.
I didn't know if you could see that, so I thought I would just jump in.
Yep, go for it.
I would like to nominate Adrian Raymond
Okay.
as chair.
Second?
I'll
BJ?
second.
Okay. Any other nominations?
Point of order, please.
Yep, absolutely.
Not more than one person for a position on
Yes.
the board. It needs to be done by a paper ballot.
Would the board be willing to do that virtually if it's all anonymous?
We just did it for some election.
Yeah,
Yeah,
did
we,
it with email.
and we did paper in the room, and we did
Yep.
email for virtual
Email for them,
folks.
and you did the writing down.
We could, I've got something here that I could shoot an email out to everybody, and they could do it via email. And I guess, some folks in the room don't have that option, so that's fine. If you're comfortable doing it on paper in the room, and then I can send an anonymous one to virtual folks, is that?
That's fine.
Yeah. I think that's what we did the last time.
Okay,
That's what we did last time.
okay, if that's reasonable. Thank you for raising that point of order, Doug.
Problem.
Let's see, so if you'll give me a minute, it will take me a second to juggle this, because we've got Sam and Liz who need that virtual vote. Oh, and is that it? Sam and Liz?
Yeah, it almost
Yep.
seems counterproductive to go through all the,
Oh,
I was going to say, send it to me so I don't have to write down on paper.
That's three.
well, yeah. I mean, actually, a lot of us at least have our phones, but
Who's missing besides Paul?
that's it.
Did you do it by paper for the people that were in the room last time?
yes, we
Yeah.
did.
Or just do
I
that?
guess.
Not going to be there anyway. We should have one more.
Okay,
Liz,
Liz is up there, that's the one.
Sam.
Liz is second,
Okay.
You don't have the other,
Yeah, no.
the third.
Okay. Liz and Sam, if you don't get an email in just a bit here to be able to send that, let me know, please. Folks in the room, if you will grab a slip of paper. It looks like Ian's got some ready for us.
There you go.
Thank you.
I was always that kid. So now I have like 10.
Thanks, Ann.
Guess she'll pick them
I'll
up.
sit right here for now. Clear away. Bring them up.
Why don't you bring him over there, Bruce?
Oh, here.
Good, John.
Thank you very much.
She's so lonely over there.
Diane or anything. I'm moving.
Please do.
Really?
You gonna stay in Clarendon, though?
But now we have to look.
Yeah, actually.
Damn,
Hey,
Stay within the border,
I
please.
have a mic.
Liz and Sam,
Throughout the city.
Yeah, I haven't gotten anything.
okay.
Same, unfortunately.
Okay. I wonder if this system is not working. It's telling me it sent it. Are both of you comfortable just emailing me your vote?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, for the speed and whatnot.
Yep.
Did everyone get sworn in that just got elected?
Josh, have you been sworn in?
You guys get sworn in?
Yeah, this morning.
Linda, you did too? I did. I remembered it. 2:30 when our town clerk closes it.
Did you get sworn in, Andrew?
Yeah,
You hadn't
I
been there
worked.
yet.
I worked, and I had to, leave on my lunch and go, yeah. I got crap when I got there. I'm like, of course he's been in. She's like, he's still not happy with you.
Well, you were the big vote getter, so I mean, I don't.
You have a second fiddle?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I know you play fiddle.
I am impressed.
Did everybody, did I get everybody's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Who's number, oh, Paul. Which is really interesting, because that gives us 5 and 5.
Oh, jeez.
Cool.
Yeah. Does anybody know Robert's rules at this point?
Can we call him?
What we would do for that? I don't know if
Might
he's
not have
even been
gotten
sworn
sworn
in.
Oh, that's true.
Here, since you're running the election.
I got a quarter we can flip.
Fantastic. And I wonder if worst-case scenario, we table it till our next meeting?
Yeah, you'll just have to run
He
the.
didn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Who, me?
Paul.
Paul, I know. He's an important hub right now, and he's not
he's-
even able to do it.
I know, he's sort of at sea right now.
Is he the guy that runs the
don't have a
place
chair.
thing? Okay,
To break the tie.
Well, no, but,
Yeah.
I met him before.
well, I mean, I voted.
Well, so did I.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, yeah.
So we had 10, 5 and 5.
We can't take you guys out, because it would be,
Still 5 and 5.
Still.
Or 4.
But
Right.
if he votes, we're going to know his vote.
Or somebody might have changed.
it won't be
Because it's-
unanimous and-
It won't
unanimous
be,
anymore.
yeah, it won't be
Well-
unanimous.
People could change. You don't know. I mean,
And being a new board member,
So
So
I'm
how
the
about a vice chair? Do we,
I'm the presiding officer, but I am not a member of the assembly, so I can't vote. I think that's clear in Robert's rules, so that just won't work.
I don't think there's any way to do it other than just to delay it.
Table it, yeah. Okay.
and do vice chair?
Yep,
Well, we can do everything else.
Yeah, yeah.
okay. Gosh, you're going to put me on the hot seat and make me run the whole meeting then? Vice chair can run once we have a vice chair. Nice. Okay, thank you. Didn't know I was signing up for that, too. Do I have a motion to table?
So moved?
So
Yeah.
moved.
Thank you. I think I had BJ and then Andrea as a, can I get a second? Okay, Andrea, thank you. All in favor of tabling that? Oh, sorry, discussion?
we table it.
Hearing none.
Tabling it.
Chair and putting a vice chair up.
Hearing no discussion, all in favor? Okay, and I see, don't see Sam. Yep, okay, I see everybody. Looks like that was unanimous. So we will move on to the second piece of our reorganization. Vice Chair, do I have nominations? Adrian?
BJ.
Okay, thank you.
I second that.
Second from Andrea, thank you. Do we have any other nominations?
Here, you
Don't
want
see
my
Sam or
notes?
Liz, okay.
I may
Here
need
you go.
them.
You
Okay.
want the agenda too, or you got it on your screen?
We have to go through the whole thing first.
Okay. Well,
So,
I don't think you can lose.
Okay, so Sam and Liz, if you can email me your, oh,
I thought there was just one.
That's only one first.
yeah, if there's only one, do we have to do this?
Can we-
You can just-
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
I was confused going, what are we doing here?
Shall we,
Shall.
I think we can agree on by consensus.
okay, so by
You folks agree with
consensus,
that?
okay, BJ, Vice
Yeah, so long
Chair,
as no one intends to abstain.
Okay.
excellent.
Unless there was going to be a huge writing campaign for somebody.
Mickey Mouse.
BJ, as our newly
Ballot.
appointed Vice Chair, would you like to take over running the meeting?
Yes.
Okay,
Why not?
You'll have
I
fun.
think I should have prepped more. Okay, that's the hardest part about this meeting is you don't get to prep. So
clerk.
we have Vice Chair, Clerk. Okay, do I have any nominees for Clerk?
Doug Earl.
I'll second.
Knew that was coming.
Well, you take the notes anyway, so we might as well make you the chair, the clerk, so.
Okay. Any other nominees? I'm not seeing any other nominees. Can I have a consensus vote? Just.
Right.
Where's Sam up there?
Top right.
There's Sam, okay. Top right corner.
The person waving.
Waving.
Okay. Now, I guess we have to identify date and time for monthly board meetings. Currently, we have the first Wednesday at 7 and the third Wednesday at 7, both in hybrid.
I would move that we keep them there.
Okay, Len, anybody else have any other suggestions?
Second.
Second? Okay, this one can be a regular vote, I'm assuming? Okay, let's.
We got a motion, yeah.
Made the motion, seconded. All in favor, raise your hand. Awesome. Okay. Okay, we have to identify locations for postings and warnings. Previously, this has been town offices, schools, dumps, post offices, general stores, the MRUUSD central office. We need 3 in addition to the website. So those were the 3. So town offices, the dumps, the post offices, and general stores in central office. So may
I make a motion that we have the same,
Here.
yeah.
yeah, I
Oh,
make a
okay.
motion that we continue with the same warning locations.
A second?
I'll second that.
And all in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Identify a media source, a newspaper of record. Previously, this has been the Rutland Herald. May I have a motion to keep it the Rutland Herald?
So moved.
1, 2. All in favor, raise your hand. Yay. So that's Rutland Herald, that's that. We need to identify a bank. Previously, this has been People's United Bank. May I have a motion to keep it as is?
So moved.
And a second? Doug? Awesome.
I have a question.
Getting something done.
Brian, have you checked with with Stan, that that's his preference?
Yes, I believe that still is.
Okay.
We've been with them for a while, and it's always been a good report.
Thanks.
Okay.
And a virtual thumbs up from him if you weren't looking at the screen just now.
Oh,
Thank you, Stan.
Thanks, Dan. Okay, and I'm going to check that off. Now we need to, we need a vote on that one, I guess, because that was discussion. All in favor? Unanimous? Yay. Okay, appoint a truant officer. Previously, this has been Deputy Joe Hoffman. I have a motion to, I'm assuming he still wants the job? Brian?
I would assume so.
Okay. May I have a motion to, so moved? Second? Someone over here? Any discussion? Nope. All in favor, raise your hand. It looks unanimous, so Joe gets to keep his job. Happy for that. Looks like we need to have a vote to affirm Robert's Rules of Order for small boards. Do I have a motion?
so moved.
So moved by Adrian. Do I have a second? Liz? Now I'll give it to Josh.
All right, excellent.
Sorry, Liz. And any discussion? Okay, all in favor? And unanimous. God, I love this sheet.
That's why I gave it to you.
Thank you.
Ann sent it to us.
Thank you, Ann. I guess I gotta read more into that. Okay, appoint representatives to committees. Ideally, we want two, in the past, ideally, like, each board member has held at least 2 committees. And I know we want to at least make it 5 members of each committee.
I think Liz might have a question.
Liz, what's up?
Yeah, I wanted to make a suggestion. Can we do a Google spreadsheet while we're talking about this so that we can, look for balance in our disbursement? And that way, if we end up with a little, if we end up unbalanced, we can go back and address that while we're here tonight.
I wanted to suggest that we strive very hard to have 5 members for each committee. When we have more, then we have trouble having a quorum, and everybody can come anyway and still speak their mind. And when we have less, it seems like it's also hard to get a quorum, because if you only have 3 people on the committee, if one, person doesn't show up, it's difficult to do anything. 5 would be great, I think.
Okay.
I think that's a sweet spot, but.
Do we have a math person who can tell us preemptively, there are this many committees and there are this many people, and you all have to be on so many? My son just shouted 3. I didn't know he was in this meeting. I don't understand what's happening. Anyway,
Well, there's 8.
it is roughly 3, right? Everybody has to be on 3 committees, is that right?
There's 6 committees.
Yeah.
So are we counting ad hoc? No.
No, not ad hoc.
No, because those are sort of up in the air.
And
3.
Yeah,
So that would be 30, and, that would be like 3 apiece.
Thank you. That's helpful to know.
Okay. I grabbed the thing that Ann sent us that has the current committees that are up there. So we have finance, buildings and ground, personnel, negotiations, policy, and community engagement are the 6 official board members. And I'm just going to go round robin.
PJ?
What?
May I suggest that you make a copy that you can then share, and we can build this spreadsheet for Ann tonight?
Well, she sent it to her.
It's helpful for me to be able to see it, is what I'm getting at. Thank you. Appreciate that.
There, I just shared, I did make, this should have been, this is a copy, so, and I just shared it with the MRU board. Let me know if it didn't go through as
Didn't you
editors.
send that to us, Ann?
It's on the back of the agenda.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think she's just looking for a live one, maybe.
Okay.
That's all.
Liz, and I just sent it to you, Liz, specifically. Before I go too far into this, I figured the former chairs of each committee can speak a little bit about what goes on, especially, I guess, Josh, you're the newest one.
Yeah.
And there may be other committee members, like I'm considering adding one to the ones that I've done before if I can, so love to hear from each one. Finance, Liz, do you want to talk about finance first, since you're on the list first?
Sure. So, hi Josh, welcome. And actually, we have committee descriptions on our website. Does anybody know exactly where they are? And I can just go right there.
Right. Mill River Schools, School Board, and then I think it's right in, when you click on policy.
Yeah.
Okay, so school
Yeah.
board.
Board committee,
policy.
second link down.
Cover the school board and then look at board committees.
And then each committee
Where's
page.
school board?
In the yellow bar on the top.
Thank you, Sam.
Or Sam just posted directly.
Thank you. Okay, perfect. Thank you. That's much easier. Okay, just rather than me try to fumble through a description, I think I should use the description we all agreed on. I just put it on my thing.
Hold on, Liz.
My phone just started
We
playing
got so
music.
mad.
I was trying to get the agenda up and started playing music. I hate technology.
Okay. Liz, go ahead.
I got it up finally, though.
Totally missed that. Was it anything good?
Matt just started playing music on his phone.
What was he playing?
I was trying to get the agenda up, and I don't know, some video about Russia, I don't know. Started playing on my phone.
All right, well,
Sorry.
actually, so the Finance Committee, the descriptor on our web page is very short and sweet. Our committee charge reads, "The purpose of the Finance Committee is to develop a district budget with input from the administration for adoption by the full board and to meet periodically to assure its sound oversight." And I will basically just elaborate and say that we are charged with developing a budget that supports the work that we do in the Mill River Union Unified School District. And I should add, actually, that during the year, like, we have a cycle, right? So during the year, we're not very busy, there's not a lot to do, but during budget season, we meet a lot. So I would say October, November, December, we meet at least every other week, but sometimes we meet weekly. So it's a very seasonal position.
Well, and congratulations on getting the budget passed, by the way. I think that's kind of important
Oh, yes,
to say.
thank you to everybody. I mean, this is, thank you to our communities, to the electorate, to everybody who worked on that. We put forth a very sound budget, and, proof of that is that it passed. So thank you to everybody for their hard work on that, because it was hard work. It is hard work. So, anybody who likes math, who likes accounting, is interested in numbers and financial documents, Stan and our school leadership are delightful to work with.
Awesome. I'm going left to right, so personnel. I'll go with you next.
Are we gonna go through them all?
I want to at least give a description of each, I mean, for the public and for Josh, and hopefully, what's the other gentleman's name?
Watch it.
Paul will get to watch it, hopefully.
Personnel, and I don't have it in front of me, of course, but basically, we look at, for example, we're involved in hiring the superintendent. We're also looking at hiring a principal in Clarendon and Shrewsbury. We have a couple of contracts to bring to the board tonight. So a lot of it is simply contract work from teachers to coaches to, oh, there you go.
What you wrote on your website.
Hey, aren't you good? Participate in the vetting, interviewing, and determination of candidates for board approval for all administrative positions. We look at the licensure and resume of folks who are applying for positions to make sure that they are licensed. We usually meet once a month. In the past, we met the first Wednesday at 6 before the board meeting at 7. We do the superintendent's evaluation. And that's kind of it, as I'm looking at it. We also provide the opportunity for exit interviews for folks who are leaving the district for whatever the reason may be. Whether they choose to or not, they don't have to, but we do provide them with that opportunity. And we also leave it up to them who they want to meet with. We had a couple this past year. We had one who wanted to meet with all of the board members, and we had one who only wanted to meet with a couple of the board members, a few of the board members, I should say. So we provide that opportunity as well. Thanks, BJ. Yeah, you'll have to read yours for, oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Adrian.
Buildings and ground, Doug.
That would be me. We generally meet the first Tuesday of each month. We're going to switch to every other month to try and do that. There's very little going on from our standpoint. It deals with nearly everything in all the buildings. The heat is on because of Gary and his crew he has with him. He's very good to do stuff, and it's not really much that we need to do on a hands-on basis. It's kind of good from my standpoint because other than the Tinmouth building, I've actually done work in every building that the district has going. But Gary knows more about what's going on now. We sometimes have to deal with contracts that we're purchasing certain things. This year, my favorite thing was purchasing 2 nice school buses. It started at about late June, early July, and they finally showed up about 3 weeks ago. Good old virus going. We also did some renovations 3 years ago with a very large sum of money, and we did a number of things that were really great. We had a lot of things that needed to be done, and he kept his things going, but we would have talked about that part too. We took a tour down of the new boiler room that's put there 3 years ago, and that's just an amazing place down here that you could learn a lot of stuff in there. We currently have, I think, only 3 people on the committee, and we could use another couple more, I suppose. It's not a big deal. Takes about 45 minutes to 1 hour each time.
That leaves negotiations.
Oh, well, that's pretty simple. We negotiate contracts with both the support staff and with the teacher association, and I'll read what the charge says. The negotiations committee is responsible for negotiating our master agreements for both teachers and support staff. All agreements must be approved by the full board and the applicable staff group. And that really is it. I mean, when we're meeting, we've been meeting a lot. We've had meetings every 2 weeks, and we've had a couple of periods of time where we're meeting every week because they overlapped. But we've finished up, for the most part, the teacher contract. It has to be retyped and cleaned up and then approved by both bodies. And we are in the midst of the support staff. We're going into the 3rd meeting. So that's it.
Okay. Policy, that's mine. Policy, I guess I'll start off by just reading the charge. Board policies provide direction, transparency, and clarity for the board, administrators, staff, parents, students, and the public when dealing with both regular functioning of our district and provide guidance in unusual and extraordinary circumstances. Is that a run-on sentence, Krista? Bruce? The board establishes policies that articulate the school district goals and provide long-term continuity. Policies are essential component of our risk management efforts. They ensure compliance with federal and state mandate requirements when failure to comply can expose the district to a legal liability. We basically, each policy that comes up, we have a rotation. We try to adhere to that rotation of reading the policies, but I have to admit, in my experience, the ones that tend to pop up tend to take priority, and hopefully we can get that under control and things done quicker than we have in the past. We meet once a month. There's been our regular meetings. In the past, it's been the second Tuesday of the month, but that can change depending on who joins, as for any of these. One thing, especially for Josh and Paul and the community, there's a big, big difference. We deal with the policies which are set in stone. We do not deal with procedures, which is what the administration and everybody usually handles. And there's a learning curve with learning what's what. So that's an important distinction when we're going through it. Okay. Community engagement. Sam.
Well, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel, so I'll first start by reading the committee charge. The Community Engagement Committee is to increase school board member visibility and access and capacity and skills with the intention of informing district vision and goals. It's not just that the 5 folks that sign up for it today are the only people that have to interact with it. The idea is to come up with ways in which we can lift up the board and support the board. We increase our interaction, kind of, I don't want to say optimize, kind of things in place that make it a little, kind of take care of the infrastructure of things like our community conversations, which we've been doing virtually. Dare I even say, in-person things are coming soon. That's a big hope. Scheduling, things like that. So just if you want to help creative ways for us to even more get those, the Hannaford kind of all are missing, but more of a actual intended, we all know where we're going to be and make sure that we all get to chatting. That's what we're there for mostly.
Okay. At the moment, we have 2 ad hoc committees. We might as well talk about them at the same time. And let's see.
BJ, it's.
Yeah, we'll start over here. Matt, here.
All right, so the ad hoc art display inclusion statement, we just started meeting for those finally. We've had 2 meetings that neither one had a quorum, so it was more of a brainstorming session. Essentially, what we are trying to do is create a statement of inclusion for the district, as well as create an art display at all district schools that make all students feel welcome and wanted. So hopefully we'll get a little bit more participation going forward and get it really on the ground running this year. So thanks.
And ad hoc committees are temporary ones for a single charge. So for the community and Josh. We have the other one. Len, are you?
Yep, student retention, one of the things that we've been looking at was a survey to try to get at why folks may have chosen to leave the district, ask what we can do better to keep them here. And that's about as far as we've got at this point. And I know, Sam, your committee is also working on a survey looking at asking questions on a regular basis of students and parents and those kinds of things. So it's,
Sorry, just that has been moved, kind of administration is looking at a broader outside contracted survey, and we're joining on with that.
Yeah.
Our questions on that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
just to be clear.
yeah, and that, they're two different things. But I did want to emphasize yours is you're looking at doing it on a more regular basis, where this ad hoc committee is looking at maybe once a year to find out why folks might be choosing to leave, and what can we do to keep them here.
Okay, now that we've kind of talked about each of those, I'm going to go right down the list and I guess see who wants to still be on them. Currently, finance is Liz, Carol. I'm reading the same thing,
Oh,
aren't I?
okay, yeah, I wasn't
You
sure
were
if we had a
awesome.
vote.
Carol from Timoth was on it. Doug and Adrian are the official people on it now. That's currently 3. I don't know if the 3 current ones want to stay on that to start off with. And
Yes, please.
I intend to stay on that committee, yes.
Doug, you plan on hanging out?
Yep, I'll be there.
Okay, and would love to have a few more on that one. Josh would like to be on it.
I'll be
so
on it, yeah.
To join as well, please.
Josh and Sam.
I'm writing the names of people that are on it or adding to it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And actually, I'm going to follow Liz's suggestion and just share that one tab that I'm trying to write in there. Liz, you have edit rights to this, so, and Adrian's in it too.
Oh, yeah, I can do that if you want.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that leaves 5 in finance. I think that's a really good number. Personnel has had Len, myself, Doug, Maria, who is no longer here, Matt, Andrea, and Bruce, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is 6 current members since Maria is no longer here.
Which means 4 for a quorum.
Which means we need 4 at every single meeting for a quorum. If we were at 5, we would only need 3 for a quorum, am I correct?
We
there-
have not had any issue, and I think part of it is because of the timing, because we tend to have
Right
it
before this.
before the regular board meeting. We haven't had any issues with the quorum. But I would like to stay as chair of the personnel committee. Throw that out.
And at your first meeting, you can pitch that.
I'd like to remain on it as well.
Yeah, I want to stay on it.
Is there, so let me go, I'm interested too. Is there anybody that wants to jump off? Doesn't sound, Doug, I think you're the only one I didn't hear from. Doug
stay
and
there.
Bruce, I'm assuming you guys want to stay on.
Good to know the people coming in, coming out.
Okay.
6.
And I think that's a good one to have 6. Like, if as long as we're good with the 4 quorum, we're good.
Yep.
Buildings and Ground has had Doug, Matt, and Bruce. It would be great if we could have another one. Don't
I
forget
would like to be on buildings and grounds, please.
Liz.
It's generally going to be the,
I'm struggling, I'm having issues with the spreadsheet, I'm sorry.
Okay. I'll make it work.
So who's going to be on?
Liz is jumping on.
Liz, don't forget we have the other member.
Doug and then Matt, right?
Doug,
You're
Matt,
on.
and Bruce.
Matt, Bruce, and Liz.
Yeah.
And we do have to leave room for Paul to be on committees.
So, question mark, Paul?
Yeah, no.
That's what happens when you are
You're
not here.
Yeah.
We can put him wherever we want to, right? Hey, you don't
And if he
show up, that's
doesn't
what
watch the
happens.
meeting, he won't even know.
That's totally legit, yeah.
And that leaves 5 in that one.
Perfect.
Negotiations has been Adrian, Matt, and Sam. Would like to join that one too.
And I would as well.
And that gives 5. Now, is that a pretty good number for negotiations as the chair? I mean,
Sure.
nice.
Who's on it?
It'll be Adrian, Matt, Sam, Liz, and myself.
Okay.
Are
We
they-
we don't really have to worry about the quorum issue because when we negotiate, it's not a meeting anyway, so, I mean, so if people can't come for some reason, we're good.
Okay. Policy is myself, Asha was on it, who's no longer here,
Yeah, you're losing 2 people.
Len, Maria, who was on it, who is no longer here. Don't go too fast, I'm still reading that. Andrea and Bruce.
I would like to continue.
I want to stay.
Okay. Bruce, do you want to stay on that one? Okay, so that we're now down to 4 on that one.
I'll go on it.
You want to go on it, Josh? You get first dibs since you're here. And that leaves 5, so that makes a good number for that.
And, I mean, sort of, anybody can go to any meeting, and you
Yeah.
can speak as much as you like, you just aren't
Yeah, you're
a
just not gonna
voting
vote.
person.
That's-
Right,
yeah.
so, we usually have a lot of people at policy.
Yeah. Community engagement. In the past, it's been Carol, who's no longer here, Len, Liz, Maria, who's no longer here, Sam, and Adrian.
Len, are you still on that?
Nope.
I didn't think so.
Okay, Len is
I'm gonna
up.
come off because I am on 3 now.
I will go on to community engagement.
Okay.
Yeah, I would also go on that one and that to be my 3rd.
I would be a part of that as well. I don't
So
know.
Len back.
Oh, so you want back on?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was saying he was already off it, but he wants to get back on it.
Okay.
I don't know what that gives you for numbers.
4.
Yep.
Sam, Len.
All right, I'll stop.
Josh, and me.
Whoever's moving. Liz, I think you're moving.
Yeah, Asha needs to be seated from before, or no, that's Andrea, if I can see.
Yep.
What does that give us on there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on community engagement. Paul has only been recommended for 1 location, though. I just kind of want to make that note that where he joins,
We put him on finance.
I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah, he's got a lot of that stuff. That's mine.
oh yeah, he's a business owner.
Yeah.
Okay, and that gives him 2,
And we'll let him choose.
and we'll see if he can confirm with him. Will that have to be an extra motion to add him at the next meeting? Does anybody know?
Can I suggest we put Paul on community engagement because community engagement doesn't have representation from Wallingford.
Good point.
Oh, yeah.
I think we need to wait for him, because he may have some days that he can't be on these meetings.
Well, the times aren't set anymore, but yeah, I mean, we do need to wait for him. We're just trying to make sure we also
Save spots for him.
save spots for him.
We can rearrange at any time.
We can always rearrange too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's keep it here. We've made 2 suggestions for Josh. Suggestions. Everybody else has.
I
Or
don't
Paul.
say Josh.
Paul,
Josh
Paul.
actually made his choices.
Hello, Jetson.
You'll find I am horrible with names, publicly announcing that one, I'm sorry.
I'll pull through.
To the entire community. So that is our 6 official, do we have to vote on this, or is this just?
No.
No, okay. So that's our 6 official standing meetings. Now we have the 2 ad hoc committees. Student retention in the past has been Len, Carol, who's no longer here, Andrea, and Bruce. Is there anybody else that wants to be on that?
That
So
might
you
also
have
be something
3.
that Paul wants to get on, because I know
Yeah.
he said he was concerned with why kids were leaving Mill River,
And
so.
the 3 is fine, so, okay, cool. Then that might be one he really wants to,
Yeah.
so. I'm gonna leave that at 3. Len, you think that's good, since you've been?
Yeah, I'm willing to stay on that.
Well, you've been at the meetings, 3 people, kinda cool. Or do you
I'm
wanna-
sorry, I didn't hear you, BJ.
Do you wanna try and get more people on it, or do you think 3 is kind
On
of a?
my committee?
Yeah, on that little
On the
ad hoc
student
committee. Do you think you
retention?
need more? I'm trying to see if you want to recruit more people, or 3 would be kind of good.
You're not going to meet that regularly, are you?
No.
No.
I think we're okay with 3,
Yeah.
because then we just need 2 to have a,
And like you said, Paul may want to join that one,
Yep,
because
yep.
that was one of the things he ran on.
Yep.
Okay, the art display. Matt, Carol, who's no longer here, Len, Sam, Andrea, and Adrienne.
Okay, I'm not
I'm gonna
on
come
that.
off.
Matt just stuck me in there anyway.
I had it on my notes that she was in there, and apparently she wasn't. Apparently my notes are bad.
Okay, so no Andrea.
No Andrea.
No me, yeah.
No green either, I'm gonna come off that one.
And maybe you can get your quorum if it's less people too.
There you go.
Adrian, are you staying?
I didn't know I was on it.
Yeah, officially, according to the
Okay, well,
spreadsheet you
That
are.
just put
then
people
I
on it,
will,
whether
then
they
I
wanna
will
be
try
on
and
it or
come to
not.
meetings, because I didn't know I was, so I
Okay.
haven't come.
Apparently my notes are really bad that day.
Okay, but I was going to ask to join, so it's all good.
So then it would be Len, Andrea, myself. Anyone else want to?
No, Andrea doesn't.
There you go.
No,
again.
it's
I'll
you,
join on that.
Len,
Okay.
and Ray.
Josh.
And Josh.
And Josh wants to.
Okay.
So that's 4, and I mean, I don't think there's going to be too much
That'll be fine.
contention, yeah.
That'll be fine.
Okay.
You can mobile.
As long as he doesn't keep sticking me in there.
It's like putting on the schedule at work. What can I say?
I know,
Sometimes it works, sometimes it
and then I look at it and go, can't do that.
Okay, at the bottom of the sheet, I see 3 things. It's not on my little list here, but I think it'd probably be important to discuss and vote on. Review payroll and pay orders. Doug, you've been doing that in the past. Would you like to continue doing that?
Yeah, if somebody else would like, we had 2 for quite a while with Paul and George. And then when Paul was voted out, they went to George and I, and then when George retired, it's been me for the last year and a half or so. It's not any type of work at all, it's just, it's nice being able to look at certain things and you see where things are going to, where insurance is what we have, you're seeing not so much attendance of anybody, but you see what's being purchased, what's being bought for different parts of the schools. And you can ask questions, anything that you want. I'm pretty sure with Stan there's very little mistakes going on, but you do want to take a look. It's optional, I don't mind doing it.
Thank you for that. That might be another one that Paul may want to look at, like I said,
Oh, that's true, reviewing pay orders and stuff.
pay orders and stuff, just as a.
Yep.
So we might want to reach out to him next time we actually see him. Board representative to Stafford.
I inherited that sort of from George. I am the chair on their program committee, so, but I am not like totally wedded to the job. I will continue. It's at least 1 meeting a month and sometimes twice. 8 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday. That's when they meet.
Way to sell it.
Telling the truth. It's a very interesting group. There's a lot of business people, there's a lot of and then other school personnel. It's nice to see how Stafford operates, and it's good to get another perspective on other schools, because our kids go there. And you also hear some of the things, like this morning, I said, so how are, what happens when a school doesn't send paras like they have in the past? And she said, well, coincidentally, Mill River is one of the ones who got rid of their para that they send to Stafford, and it's a little bit of a problem. So, I mean, it gives you another perspective on how we're operating. Don't everyone jump.
I'm going to if you're willing to do it, I'm going to nominate you. I'm going to follow that procedure. Is it?
second it.
Yeah.
Thank you for all
Any other
piling on. I really
nominations or
appreciate that.
volunteers that
No,
are
no,
really
it's fine. It's interesting. I'm fine. Thanks. I wanted to give someone else the opportunity
Take a school every morning.
because it is interesting.
Okay, by consensus, Adrian,
Yep.
you still got it?
Okay, that's fine.
And board rep to VSBA,
I'm not really
Explain
sure, what we did, we had appointed somebody to go to the regional meeting. I mean, and the regional meeting elects the person that goes from this area to be on the VSBA board, so we can't really substitute that if in
Okay.
October, or whenever they have their next
so when
meeting.
we'll deal with that in October.
Well, no, because that's picked at the regional meeting. So
Okay.
if we go, that's just a statement. I'm
Okay.
not really the board rep from Mill River. I'm the board rep, a board rep from the Rutland region,
Okay.
and we don't elect me. So,
Okay, good.
yeah.
I'm going to stop sharing then, because I think that document is now done.
BJ?
Yes.
BJ, I'm going to share it with Ann.
Yeah, go right ahead. Okay, where's next on my agenda? Now I gotta find the agenda again. I had it up.
On the end of that checklist, authorize chair to sign warrants in
Oh.
emergency. Well,
Okay.
I think we don't have a chair, so it might make sense to wait on that one too, but maybe not forget about it if we wait
Well,
on it.
is that, I was looking
Or
at
authorize
that.
the vice chair at this point, if that makes sense.
Should we authorize the vice chair to sign warrants in a temporary fashion?
I think the vice chair does take that role if the acting, if the chair isn't there.
Yep, okay, so we
So-
could authorize the chair.
So,
Yeah.
and then by default,
vice
the
chair
vice
Right,
chair.
could-
you just take that.
Okay.
Okay.
May I have a motion to authorize the chair to sign warrants in an emergency?
So moved.
So moved.
Anybody want a second?
Sure.
Second. All in favor? Okay, that looked unanimous. Yeah. So that is done. Thank you. Agenda. Oh, now we can have an approval of the agenda?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, can I have an approval of the agenda?
Motion.
Yeah, I mean, motion to.
I'll motion to approve the agenda.
Got a lot left
I'll
on our
second.
hand. Second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Cool, okay. Public input and announcements. There was none that was signed up.
Question.
Yes, Bruce.
That's the way it's supposed to be done.
Yes.
But usually in the past, after you approve the minutes, the agenda, we say, are there any additions to the agenda?
Actually, usually we ask for additions or changes after the second. And then we approve the adjusted agenda.
I know.
So
right.
during the discussion.
But you
I
didn't
miss it?
ask for additions. You said, is there any discussion? So you have to say.
Oh, okay.
Now that we have a motion to approve the agenda, are there any deletions, additions, or comments? And
Okay.
then we vote on the adjusted agenda.
Okay, so can I go amend that motion?
Sure.
Since that was, is
I
there,
I will, I mean,
Yeah.
the motion is still, do we approve the agenda?
yeah,
And then after you have a second, then you are asking if there are changes.
changes to the
Right,
agenda.
and then,
Okay, so I said discussion instead of
Right.
changes.
right.
So, we have a motion, we have a second. Do we have any changes to the agenda that people would like to put in? Additions or subtractions?
Then we'd have, yeah, I want to put open meeting in here.
Okay,
Just however you want to do it, just stick open meeting in there somewhere.
Approval, superintendent. How about we add it before transact other legal business? So. Okay. All in favor of approving the amended agenda? Hopefully I said that right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Unanimous. We got it going. Okay. Public input and announcements. There was no public that signed up. Is there any public that is itching to speak to anything that's online? Speak up now. Raise your hand. Okay.
Be quiet.
That's the case. There's no discussion on the public input. And I have an approval of minutes from 2/16/22. Do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
So moved. Do I have a second?
I will.
Discussion, changes? On the notes?
Just to, I had mentioned about the state flag, and it's fixed. We have a brand-new shiny state flag out there. So I want to thank Gary for doing that. And I just, it's not a change to the minutes or anything, but we had talked about it in the minutes, and I just want to recognize the fact that it was taken care of quickly.
Nice.
Yeah.
That
Building and
said,
grounds.
not hearing any other changes, but just a compliment. Can I have a vote for all in favor of approving the minutes? Okay, unanimous. We'll move on. Superintendent Search update. I'm gonna guess that's Len.
No, it's me.
No?
No, not
Oh,
necessarily.
yeah, you're the chair of that
Yeah.
one.
You're,
I'm thinking
I mean, I don't have a-
personnel.
Yes.
Just throwing me off.
but
Yeah.
Yeah, the Superintendent Search Committee has met. We're meeting again on the 7th to hear reference checks on the semifinalists that we had identified. And then at the next board meeting, we should be able to identify the people that are being sent on to the board for their review, and then the process of more public participation to meet the candidates, and then the board will decide on who the final, if they decide on any one of those candidates, who we would offer a contract to.
Okay.
and it still is open. I think that's.
Yes, and the
that's-
advertisement is still running on School Spring,
Yeah.
in case anyone's there. But we haven't had any applications in over 2 weeks, so,
Right.
I mean, it's unlikely, but you never know.
So
So the next meeting, we should have names
so the next meeting, we should have names, and then it'll start the process of
of a public review.
public review, and all the stakeholders getting to
Yep.
speak with them, and then,
And just so that everybody knows, we actually had a fair number of candidates. Other searches in the state, of which there are quite a few, have had far fewer than we did. In fact, some of them have one or none after having the posting up for more than a week or two. So it's a tough time it's a tough time this year to hire a superintendent.
okay. Student representatives update. Do we see them?
Yep, do see some students.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, good, how are you guys? Not much to really report, but the week before vacation, we did do a Spirit Week, and there was a lot of student involvement with it, and it was probably the most involved I've seen students in a while because of COVID and everything, and it really brought a lot of, I don't know, light into people's faces, because on Wednesday, I think it was, on Wednesday we did everything but a backpack day, so you just brought anything in the backpack, put your stuff in, and I don't know how many kids exact actually did it, but it was a huge number of students, and it was actually really fun. On Friday, it was a snow day, but we planned on doing a teacher versus staff.
No, this is,
I think it was student versus staff. It was a dodgeball tournament, but the snow day had to, it was canceled, so I think we're trying to reschedule it. And I think there was 2 sheets of paper divided in half, just so the student names wanted to get involved with it. And then we also have a 3-on-3 basketball tournament coming up as well, and there are kids excited for that. So there's a whole lot actually going on, and it is very exciting.
Nice. What was the what was the most unique non-backpack that you guys saw?
Oh, we saw a wheelbarrow. We saw there were shopping carts. There were younger sibling strollers. One person strapped their not their backpack, their binder to like a remote control car.
Oh, I like that one. That is cool.
There was one thing that was really unique. Some people brought garbage cans to put their stuff in. The most unique, though, I do know there was something that stood out. There was one student who took like a pillowcase and wrapped it around a stick and threw it over his shoulder like he was thumbing down the road. That was pretty cool.
Nice.
That's cute.
I have a question about the student-faculty basketball game. Is that open to the public, and is it a fundraiser?
I don't believe it's open to the public and the fundraising part. I don't believe it is, but there is talk about wanting to do a fundraiser for that sort of stuff. And also in the summer, we have ideas for fundraisers.
Awesome. Thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah, I think that's mainly it. We've got a few things coming up, and we just did a few things.
Well, and if I can, Sydney, just so you know, we had a meeting the other day here for the Superintendent Search Committee, and remember how you had mentioned announcements going on? Boy, did we get a taste of that while we were here. So, we'll work on that, I assure you. I mean, it was just kind of funny, because we were sitting here going, holy cow.
And announcements and those bells.
Yeah,
Bells
that bell.
were.
Yeah, and the bells. So we hear you, we feel for you, because we lived it that day, and we'll continue to work on that. But I just wanted you to know that.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah, we'll keep you informed. Our next meeting's in 2 weeks. Hopefully we'll have the dodgeball tournament by then, and we'll go talk about that one.
And as always, don't forget to speak up and at other things on the list here. Your opinions are very welcome, and I can guarantee that I will forget about it too when I'm running the meeting. So speak up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
What? Lacey.
Does Lacey have any?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
No, you see her on.
I'm on. I don't have anything today. I mean, I can go off of what Chris and Sydney said and say that Spirit Week went really good, and it's good to see kids enjoying to come to school and participating in that kind of stuff. Hopefully, we'll have more for you guys next time, but thank you.
Thank you.
Thank all of you, yeah.
Just hearing what's going on in the school is big, so thank you. Okay, that brings us to COVID dynamics update.
And I'll give you a briefer update than I gave the last time. We have no new guidance from the state, and it being town meeting day, there was no press conference yesterday. There was no change over break, and actually Dan French, Secretary of Education, had said that that was intentional, that sometimes changes came when it was really hard to mobilize communication to the community, so that they did not make a change over break because of that. No press conference yesterday. We did have an email from the Agency of Education saying that some guidance was coming this week. I don't think it's going to be anything large. I'm thinking more about the press conference next Tuesday and what we're going to hear there. As of today, case averages are down 91% from the peak of the Omicron wave. We are down to mid-September numbers for new cases, which is fairly low, in the hundreds, not in the 200s, 300s, thousands. New hospitalizations are the lowest since we've seen in October. And from a peak of about 100 hospitalizations, we're down to about 30. From a peak of 20 ICU, we're down to about 2. So the trends that we've been seeing have continued. We've gotten away from February break, and we are seeing those trends. We're not seeing an uptick after a break, which is what I think some folks were watching for and wondering what was going to happen. So everything we talked about before the break, I think we're going to see. It's just a matter of time when the state does tell us that that 80% rate is no longer going to be the recommendation, and that it's going to be up to us about whether we want a mask or not. So we'll see what happens Tuesday. I think it's going to be sooner rather than later, absolutely. I think folks are becoming more and more comfortable with it as the numbers start shifting. I know there are some folks who aren't comfortable with it because they do have some either their own underlying health conditions or folks that they interact with, family, friends that have those conditions. So not everybody is going to be in the clear, but I think generally the numbers are continuing to improve. It may be worth the board thinking about, if guidance does come out next week, we have a bit of time before the next board meeting. The board did decide to follow new guidance. So depending on what that new guidance looks like, we might be okay to get to our next board meeting on the 16th, or the board might want to think about, do we need to get together quickly to think through some of that guidance and how that's going to impact us. I do see a student with a question. So I love that you're jumping in, Sydney.
So as of right now, before I think about on Tuesday, does the school need to be up to 80% vaccinated in order to release the masks?
That is absolutely correct. That is where we are right now.
There was a bunch of questions Monday and Tuesday of what they were, and I heard it was 80%, and then it was depending on the COVID cases within Rutland County.
Yeah, so, and that's a really good point, because the CDC over the break did give an update. Agency of Education didn't change anything, but the CDC did move to what you're talking about, those case rates, and actually I think it's hospitalization rates. So the federal recommendation is that if hospitalization rates are below a certain level, that you don't need to wear masks anymore. The agency hasn't updated us yet on their take on that. So I wonder if that's going to be the communication we get later in the week. We haven't heard from them yet, but they got to tell us something, because you're right, that hospitalization rate for the county, that information did come out, but that actually doesn't affect us and the guidance we've been given. Great question. Anything else you were asking there?
You want to ask again?
Yes. I've also heard that right now, our school district, I think, is at 60 or 64%. Is that correct?
That would be the high school, the middle high. So actually Mill River's about 60%. The elementaries are each a little bit lower. If the high school hit, and I should say the middle high school, if the middle high school hits 80%, they could go maskless while the elementaries could still stay wearing masks. That's a possibility. That's something what the board adopted would allow that, because that would be the recommendation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great questions. Thank you for jumping in there. Adrian?
I was just wondering if it would be helpful, rather than, if the advice changes before our next board meeting, whether we would want to re-up the advice that when the Board of Education, or the Board of Education, the Agency of Education changes there, that you could just make that change without waiting for a meeting or without getting
know-
us all back together. I mean, I don't see any reason why we
So
would
if-
have to come together to say, yeah, follow the advice.
If the board is comfortable with us following that advice, following that recommendation, whatever that looks like, and you're, yep, I'm more than willing to take that guidance, interpret it, and get it to the community and run with it. Absolutely.
You sort of said that the last
We
time.
agreed to it, so you
Yeah.
have the right to do that.
Yep.
I like
Yep.
Adrian's idea about
Right.
reiterating.
Right.
You have
I
the
mean,
right
I
to do
wasn't
that.
sure if you wanted to have that reinforced with the new board members or whether you're comfortable with the previous advice, because I'm still fine with
I
it.
think being clear and talking about it always is a good thing, so that we know what we're going to do when we get there. So, based on the last action of the board, we are following the guidance of the Agency of Education. So if the agency comes out and says it's our local choice, then we will make that local choice. Not using that 80% threshold. Yep, okay. That might be a scenario where I do reach out to the board and get some quick input from you.
So let's get
as we
some input
navigate
now.
that.
So
Yeah.
in the scenario that they remove the 80% recommendation and they say it is now local choice of the school board,
What would our local choice be?
what would our local choice be? And I'm going to say, does anybody have a motion? We'll do motion second and discussion vote. You want to go through that process for that one? Would that be comfortable? We're following the guidance, but if the guidance says it's now up to us,
Because I can almost guarantee, I'm wrong often, but I can almost guarantee that the guidance is not going to be no schools, no masks, nowhere. The guidance is going to be, it's your local choice, it's no longer the 80% threshold. So we do still have to make that local choice, if that makes sense. So we can follow the guidance, but there's still a question of how do we follow that guidance? Does that make sense? Yeah.
if the 80% gets removed,
Yep. If it becomes our choice.
if it becomes our choice, what is our choice?
Yeah.
And I would say, so
I have a question.
Yep.
Is there an easy way to poll students, families, and teachers and staff and say, this is what students are thinking,
Yep.
this is what their families are thinking, and this is what our
Yep.
faculty and staff are thinking?
We did poll faculty and staff, and it was about 2/3 were comfortable unmasking and 1/3 was not yet.
Okay.
We have not polled the community, we have not polled students yet. I
Okay,
think-
is that an easy possibility? I know there are apps, like phone apps, that you
Yep.
could do that on, I just don't know what they are.
Yep.
TJ, you might know actually,
Yep.
or Sam, you might know.
no,
It's-
Brian would know just as well as
It's
us.
absolutely something we can
Or
do.
Brian,
Yep.
sorry, Brian,
Yep.
of course you know.
Yep. No, all good. That's absolutely something we can do, absolutely.
That would help inform our
Sure.
decision.
Sure. And I'm comfortable if we want to not make a decision tonight and we want to get that information, I'm comfortable with that. I do want to prep the board for the possibility that we may want to get back together next week and think about something before the
But
16th.
couldn't you also just send us emails? And, no?
No.
Well, they would be making a decision by email.
Okay, forget I said that.
Yeah, no,
Well, that's
no.
what I said, we can.
Good question, yeah.
It just makes me crazy that,
I know,
you know, if there's been a change, even if we respond to you individually, we can't do that? I mean, I'm asking, I don't know.
I mean, we could, if we're leaving it up to Brian to decide,
Yeah.
then yes, we could all give our advice to him singly. If he needs a board decision, then we can't do it that way.
And up until this
But we
point,
could
that
just
has
do
been a
like
board
a
decision.
hybrid meeting, or
Yeah.
a virtual meeting really quick.
We can do a 100% virtual meeting under the provisions that the legislature has temporarily reinstated.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could do it in
Yeah,
24 hours.
We could do
with a
fully
special
virtual.
meeting.
Yep.
So
We
it'd
know.
be-
You know, with a single agenda, I mean, obviously you have to have agenda and public
Yep.
participation, all that kind of
Oh,
stuff,
yeah,
but then a
yeah,
single
yeah.
question.
Matt?
I'm in favor of calling a special meeting when it comes, and we'll cross that bridge when
Okay.
happens, otherwise, we don't know what's going to happen. I mean,
And nothing might happen.
yeah, I mean, so let's wait till the decision comes out, we'll call a special meeting, and
Okay.
We'll go from
I
there.
feel more comfortable that way
Yep.
too.
Yep.
Okay,
Not that I don't,
Yes,
trust
no,
you,
no, no,
but-
I hear you, I hear you.
Yeah.
okay.
Just so
And-
would that waiting include waiting to ask the other communities or members of the community? Potentially happen in the meantime, kind of while we wait.
We can gauge how families and students are feeling before we get there. I don't have a problem with that if that's what the board would like to know.
I mean, could we put the question out, if the Agency of Education changes the guidance to board decision, what would you prefer?
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
and then it doesn't have to have changed yet, but people
Yep.
could still answer.
I have a sense that our community is probably going to have slightly different results than our faculty, but I think they're going to be similar results, if that makes sense. I think there might be more in favor of unmasking, just based on the communications I've had from folks. I've only had people reaching out to me asking, when are we going to stop masking? But I think it's worth doing the work to get those results, for sure.
So we'll probably have an intent of a special meeting.
Yep.
You think it's unlikely that the recommendation would go to no masking? Because that's what, if the recommendation is,
Yeah.
we don't care about masks,
Yep.
that right now the way it stands is, we won't have masks.
Everything.
If the recommendation is, it's up to the board, it means a special meeting, and we review the data.
Yeah, everything I've seen so far has been I know the governor uses that analogy of the turning the spigot, turning the faucet. It's been a stepped approach. And I think there was a reason that they kept the 80% threshold. And I think the Agency of Education was actually really clear about it. They said, well, we started with that and we never actually got to it, so why would we just get rid of it? You know, that's what we've been thinking about all along, so we're going to do that. In other words, we didn't want to just pull the carpet out from under people. If they had been expecting that 80% all along, let's do that 80%. Well, really quickly, we might decide the 80% doesn't make sense, so then we'll get rid of the 80%. So I don't think they were ever going to just jump over it and eliminate it altogether. I think they want to give people time to see things play out the way they expected them to play out. I think that helps people be more comfortable with the changes, that at least, you know, through this whole pandemic, it's been, the uncertainty has been a big challenge. So as much certainty as we can give people, you know, having the decision not go into place tomorrow, but giving them lead time of 2 weeks so that they can think about the implications and become more comfortable with it. So it could totally, completely change, but I think we're going to see that stepped approach again, and the next step is 80% is gone. Next step might be masks are gone, but I don't think we're going to get there until as a statewide decision for a while. It'll become local choice first, I think.
And then even if it doesn't, so if it doesn't change, we shouldn't expect a meeting, but we can rediscuss this at the meeting on the 16th.
It'll be on the agenda 16th, and we'll do an update. Yeah.
We'll see if we want to continue with what we're doing.
Good questions, good thoughts, and I tell you some of that to give you a heads up so that if we get there next week, emergency meeting or special meeting doesn't come out of the blue on Tuesday, that, you know, we know why we might need to do that, and we're ready for it if that happens. So just trying to be ahead of the curve a little bit.
So everybody check their email by Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, thank you for all those questions.
Committee reports, negotiations.
Sort of gave a committee report by accident when I was describing it. We're in the midst now of doing the support staff negotiations, and that's where we are.
Awesome. Personnel.
Yes, although we obviously have not met, there are a couple of contracts that we'll bring up for folks to approve, and we have a letter of employment for a program assistant at the Tinmouth Elementary School after-school program for Tessa Davenport, and I would make that a motion to offer her this letter of employment.
I will
I
second.
thought she was Wallingford after school program.
Says TES, but then down below it says WES.
Yeah, I have it as Wallingford.
Okay. Then I make a motion. But- Am I right? Doesn't that say TES?
TES at the top and Wallingford at the bottom.
Saves you splitting time.
Yeah.
Where's the TES
I don't
that you
have,
see?
I don't see
Okay,
it.
Wallingford.
It's Wallingford, okay, so I'll,
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
yeah, so I'll make a motion.
I bet that just
that
got
we
looked
approve
over
a
when we were doing
contract
it, maybe.
for Tessa Davenport at Wallingford Elementary School after-school program.
I'll second.
Sorry
For all
about that.
Calling for discussion, or you?
Discussion, questions? All those in favor? Aye, opposed, abstentions. The other one we have,
Can I throw in, Len? I think Tessa's a former student, so.
Yes, she is.
that-
Yeah.
Yeah,
She is,
so that's a
yes.
cool thing, yeah.
the other one is a high school football assistant, Ronald Daigle, and I hope I pronounced that right. And it is, this, I would make a motion that we offer him a stipend payment letter.
Second.
Discussion? If you remember, at our last meeting, Kim was saying that she had some assistance that she needed to fill out, and so this is part of that process. So, any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstain?
Actually, I'm gonna keep it on you. When's our next meeting? We have to discuss that as a.
For personnel?
For personnel as a group. Because
I don't know.
officially, we don't have a chair, and officially, we don't have a time.
Right.
So out of the.
But you do have a committee, so
We do have a committee.
you could just ask us, a simple question, do you guys want to stay on the same night? And have it be,
Yes, please.
Okay.
So.
Josh, do you know when that is, since you're the newest member?
It'll be March 16th at 6 o'clock.
That's our plan?
Wait, is Josh on that
I
one?
don't think I.
No, okay, I was sorry, I was looking at
I was
finance,
like, I don't
not
think I
personnel.
signed up.
no, it's,
Then do,
do
no, that's the
I'll
same.
tell you
Because
what
that
it
stayed the
is
same, so.
I
Yeah.
need to know any. Yeah.
you just
There's-
added Hawkins and Earl.
Yeah.
It is?
There was too many people on personnel, I think, so.
Yeah, it's 5. Okay. So that is staying the same.
Yep.
So we're gonna have it
Before the-
April.
March.
March 6th.
Oh, you're not even gonna be here.
I am, sort of less, you know.
You're gonna be via whatever.
Well, I'm gonna be playing golf, but that doesn't matter. So wouldn't it be the first board meeting in April?
So
I
we're
mean,
not
that-
doing one on the 16th?
You're not.
Well, we can.
You need one?
Do you need one?
You could leave it alone and just say you might have a special meeting on the, an off-schedule meeting
Yeah.
on the 16th
Call one if
if
you need
needed.
one, yeah.
Otherwise,
Okay, then let's plan on meeting on the 16th at 6 for now. Is that okay? Is that legal?
It is. It's a reorg one, so you'll have to vote a chair and
Yeah, that's fine.
everything else.
So we'll just get together.
Okay.
It's this month, right?
no,
Next month.
next month.
Yeah.
Unless needed, in which case
Unless
we'll meet,
needed.
we'll meet on the 16th. Well, I won't, because I'm not on the committee.
which is the next meeting that I'm writing?
So
The 16th at 6 o'clock.
at the very
Right.
least, you can,
Oh, I thought you said the 6th,
no, the 16th.
for next month.
The 16th, because it's the reorg of the personnel committee.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. It was a coincidence that the first Wednesday is the 6th.
Golf and coming in for an hour.
That doesn't, no. So it's, stop it.
See, now, all sorts of
It's-
pauses
it's-
there.
It's March 16th
Yeah.
at 6 o'clock, when we will reorganize.
Okay. Okay, next one thing, I'm gonna go back, negotiations, do you guys wanna change your time at all? Or you
Well,
can't?
we've already arranged times with the support staff.
So that's
yeah.
one of those, you're just
And
gonna
they
have
aren't warned anyway, so. it
and you're gonna have to
doesn't
let me know what those are.
matter. Yes, we did. Remember, we told you.
You're gonna have to send me an email or something.
Okay, all right.
Actually, could you reiterate when the next negotiations meeting is?
Matt said it, because
The
he's looking at
next,
this
the
calendar.
next negotiations meeting is Tuesday, March 15th at 5 o'clock.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And then there's actually another one scheduled, just while I have it on here,
you.
Tuesday, the 29th, at 5 o'clock as well.
And we have been,
so much.
yeah, and we have been having them as hybrid meetings, although most people have been in person, but it's not a necessity because we already have them set up that way.
Okay. Ann, any chance we can get those added to the school board meetings calendar? I don't see them on here.
I can, you let me know when they are.
Okay.
Because we haven't been warning them, so I haven't put them on because I don't know when they are.
Okay. Can we start, make sure that Ann has that to add to the dates?
Sure.
So we can add that to the calendar. I guarantee I will miss the meeting if it's not on that board meeting calendar.
Okay.
Now that I'm an official member, I do not wish to miss it.
I'll come knock on your door, don't worry.
You can do that too. Okay. You can send me a text. I'm usually just home. That's the one day I'm
I'll
home.
send it now. I'll do it.
Cool. Thank you, and thank you. The next one down, I guess, is policy. We were really hoping to approve a policy, or public communications policy. However, it was a snafu with the publication in the Rutland Herald, and it didn't go out for enough days. So we will hopefully see that on the 16th for an approval. In the past, we have met the second Tuesday of the month. And as long as that at 5:30. And that does not conflict with negotiations. Since I'm chair of that one, I don't want to, at the moment, it doesn't conflict with negotiations.
No, because we're on Tuesdays.
Because you're on
right?
Tuesdays too, at 5.
Oh,
But I've always done the second Tuesday of the month, and so far in March, that doesn't conflict.
Yeah, we're the first
Yeah.
and third, right?
yeah. We haven't really considered any other meetings. We've just been sort of working on when the other side could meet.
Well, we'll
So-
schedule them around your stuff, so
Right.
it's fine.
So as
So-
long as you're at the meeting, we'll make
Sit
sure.
around, so we'll make it work.
I'm going to still suggest the second Tuesday of the month for that one at 5:30.
What's the date?
The next one, if that's the case, the next one will be the 8th.
What was the date again? I'm sorry.
The next one would be the 8th.
8th?
At 5:30.
Thank you.
As long as everybody's all in favor, we'll go with that one.
Sure.
Okay, buildings and grounds.
Yeah, normally I would think about the first Tuesday in April. Seems like we're doing lots of things first Tuesday of every month. What I will do is I'll talk with Gary and see if he needs something. Otherwise, we shade that out until sometime in May. We'll see what happens, or later on in the month, there could be a possibility if he needs something. But I will work with him and let everybody know.
Okay.
So just to be clear, Doug, that's to be determined, the meeting schedule?
Doug,
What? I'm sorry?
meeting schedule for it.
I just want to clarify that the buildings and grounds schedule will be to be determined.
I think you should, since it requires reorg and voting in a chair, I would suggest at least getting one on the books for that purpose. That makes sense?
For me? Yeah.
For buildings and grounds?
I can do that. You know, the problem I had is that the last meeting we had, we went about an hour, and poor Matt, he was sitting, he was watching his face, I gotta go to that other meeting, So as soon as we
I'll
get...
let that happen again, don't worry.
Yeah. So I
Double
think
booking.
as soon as we can get the negotiation stuff through, that'll go back to the first Wednesday of the month, first Tuesday of the month, I mean. Got to sort of work around what's available now.
Well, just for the sake of, you have the 15th.
Yeah, so that's the 5th of April, BJ.
Yeah, so are you okay with not having an organized, they don't have to have, they can wait till the April to vote the.
Yep.
Okay, so the way you have it now, it would be April 5th. I don't remember what time would be your first meeting.
Normally about 6 o'clock.
At 6?
Yep.
Okay, and that'll be a reorg meeting. So, get the vote. That leaves community engagement.
So traditionally, that's been the second Tuesday of the month at 6:30 hybrid. I know we've got some new folks on. Does that feel good still?
Is it always strictly hybrid? Because
Yes.
I'm gonna have policy right before that.
Yeah, me too.
No, we've
We're
had,
on
we've
the
had, it's
computer.
hybrid, meaning some people are here, some people are online.
Oh, yeah, never mind.
So you're good.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
good.
fine with me. So that was at 6:30?
Yes. On the 8th.
Yeah, and we always kind of did policy and community engagement back to back.
Yeah,
because
and it works.
It works well.
nicely. Yeah. The same people.
Yeah.
Great, thank
Oh,
you.
looks like Josh, Andrea. You. You usually show up at policy. Although you're not a member, which is fine.
Loud.
Okay. Ad hoc committees, do you want to give an update?
Not me?
All right, so for the ad hoc art display and statement of inclusion, our meetings have been typically on Wednesdays at 6 o'clock. The next one I would like to schedule for March 23rd, if that works for the other members. And then we'll do kind of a reorganization, get our feet on the ground and see how we're gonna go forward with this. Does that work for you, Josh?
What time are you thinking of March 23rd?
Yeah, what time?
6 o'clock.
At 6?
Okay. That might work out.
23rd.
That was the day that we were thinking we may need a special meeting
Oh.
for interviews on the search committee.
Well, I can always change it. I mean,
No, it might actually work out.
okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Is that worth talking about? Okay, one of the things that we talked about in our superintendent search committee is that timing-wise, we may have to have a special meeting to actually interview the candidates, specifically for that charge. Very tentatively, we were thinking that the 23rd would be an ideal date for that. So that might be a save the date for that.
Okay.
And I just didn't want to, I wanted to get that information out.
Okay.
That is not set in stone. We'll know more about that on the 7th, and we'll fine tune everything on the 16th when it comes to related to
Bring your
that.
calendar on the 7th.
Probably a good idea.
What?
Bring
Yeah, bring your calendar on the 7th. Well, that's the search committee.
I know. Well, everything. So-
Well, and just to muddy the waters, I'm meeting with Brian tomorrow and looking at setting up a schedule for the principals at Clarendon and Shrewsbury. So it could get crowded. That's all I'm saying. And
It will be a busy spring,
yeah,
no matter what way you cut it.
no,
Yep.
I just wanted to put that out there as well.
Okay.
Put your boots on, people. Let's get deep.
We can just sleep here.
So, we're gonna have a lot of
Wouldn't
special
work for the
meetings.
wife.
We'll have a special meeting for the COVID
Someone's
stuff,
gotta
we'll
help.
have a special meeting for the superintendent, important stuff. We're just gonna be busy.
My wife's not gonna be happy.
Okay,
We'll join the spouse club.
anything more with the ad hoc committees? Either one of you?
Unless he has anything, I'm all set.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm good.
Okay. Then I'm gonna move on to the additional item, which was open meeting law.
No,
Or
oh,
open meeting.
no,
Finance.
skipping.
You missed one.
Which one am I missing?
Finance.
Finance.
Oh my God, finance. I was thinking the ad hoc
Yeah,
was
we
the
got
last one.
Bills to pay, BJ.
Oh,
Yes.
Good stuff.
all I can say is I'm putting my finger on my nose and not it for that one. So it's all you, Liz.
Okay, good evening, everyone. We have the following pay orders and payroll for approval this evening. From the general fund, I'm going to do pay orders first. From the general fund, we have a pay order in the amount of $47,158.53. It just says officials. I'm actually not entirely sure. Is Stan on here?
I think he's here, but not here.
Yes.
I have to go back and look to see what that is.
Stands right there.
He is on.
Oh, Stan, what is officials?
Officials is the high school varsity and JV games and middle school games.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so for officials, we have a pay order in the amount of $4,660. From the general fund, we have a pay order in the amount of $8,930.39. And from our after-school program, we have a pay order in the amount of $228.28 for a total of $60,977.12. We have the following pay orders from our student activities accounts. From Mill River, we have a pay order in the amount of $220, and that's it for student activities, so the total there is $220. For payroll, we have payroll dated February 16th in the amount of $6,227.59. Dated February 24th, we have bonuses in the amount of $129,440.89. We previously discussed that and approved that as a board. Dated February 25th, we have payroll in the amount of $577,951.22. And dated March 1st, we have regular payroll in the amount of $6,287.76 for a total of $719,907.46. And I do move that we approve and accept payroll as presented. So I've called the question. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Sam. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, and I can't see everybody. Well, wait, yes I can. Hold on one second. Let me change my view. I beg your pardon. Okay,
Everybody in person's raise their hand.
Actually, yeah, I can't see everybody.
Why don't I call the, I can call the vote. Unanimous.
Thank you. All right, thank you, everybody. So our next meeting of the Finance Committee will be March 28th at 5 p.m. And we are currently scheduled to meet in a hybrid fashion. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, please remember that reorg, so you got to revote who's the...
What was that day again? Sorry.
March 28th.
March 28th.
March 28th, 5 p.m. That is hybrid.
Okay. And Josh, touch base with me or Ann sometime if you want the calendar. There's a Google Calendar that stays up to date. It's very helpful.
It'll show up on yours if you have a Google Calendar.
Yeah.
It's like,
And it has all the hybrid links.
yeah, no, it's a handy thing.
Okay, so moving on, so finance is done. And everybody's good on the new date or on the continued date. I guess we're gonna move on to the item that Bruce brought up. I forget the exact wording, but
I don't know what the wording is.
You just said open meeting.
It's
he said open meeting.
It has to do with open meeting. And open meeting's a big deal. And, I mean, I just want to tell you the story. It's going to take a few minutes, not a lot. I'm not a lot of words here. A couple of my constituents contacted me upset because the negotiation committee wasn't warned 48 hours in advance. That's all I know. I don't know the details. I just listened to it. I said, I'll look into it. I contacted somebody in the Secretary of State's office. I forgot his name, doesn't matter. And I'm going to read you exactly what I asked, because I called it, said this is what I need to talk about. I said, it's about open meeting law. Do committee meetings have to be warned? And then he called me back about 4 hours later. And the question was, I'm on the Mill River School Board, and this question has come up. Some people believe all committee meetings need to be warned, and the actual negotiations of a negotiation committee could take place in executive session. Other people believe negotiation committee meetings don't need to be warned. Which is correct? And I said, I understand there's a court case that's been settled, and he was familiar with it. And he said, if it's a committee is meeting, it's a quorum. If it's a quorum, it's a meeting. So you need to warn the meeting. He said, I'm not a lawyer, but that's what I would tell you. You might ask Vermont School Board Association, they tell you something else. So then I said, last meeting, I'll contact the Attorney General. And I wrote that saying, I didn't talk to her, I got an email. I didn't want to sit on the phone for 3-4 hours. So I wrote to the Attorney General's office, emailed it, and I got an answer back from Michelle Anderson, Assistant Attorney General, Chief General Counsel, Administrative Law Division. And I'm going to read you just 2 paragraphs. She said, hi Bruce, our office received your question regarding the open meeting law. We don't give advice to non-state entities generally, but rather respond to complaints. Since your issue falls in between, though, I will let you know I agree with your interpretation. The law is not explicit, but it is at least implied that a warned open meeting must be held. Determinations made that executive session is appropriate, a vote taken, and a reason given. He says there's also an option to invite others, which is also done in the open portion of the meeting. Second paragraph. I understand for this committee, the reasons are probably always the same, but agree that as a matter of transparency and to comply with the specifics of the law, that process is necessary. If there is not agreement on this, your body may contact their own attorney for an interpretation, and if you are not satisfied, a formal complaint can be made to the AGO after formal written notice to the body and a 10-day response period. For reference, I am looking at 3 VSA 313. Now, I looked at this thing like I'm studying law, and I'm not a lawyer. But the essence of this case, apparently, and that's what they say, it's apparently, do negotiations, are they open meeting? And the answer is no. Negotiations have always been done and closed. And so the ruling was, no, you cannot have negotiations in open meeting. But you can call it, warn a meeting, which we should warn, for the people to know if they want to be there and say something. But the guy at the Secretary of State's office said, if you do warn the meeting, which is what he would suggest, and you're going to go into negotiations, you need to put that in the warning. After public input, we will adjourn to executive session, and the rest of the meeting will be done in executive session. Because then you've satisfied everybody. People have known you've met. People know if they have anything to say, they can say it. And then if not, they don't show up. So, I mean, that was the crux of this thing. You got to have negotiations itself in executive session. That was what the case was about. Somebody wanted to just have it in public discussion, and they said, no, we're not going to do that. So it was retired, and then they came to court, and they got appealed to the Supreme Court. So they've all settled. It's like economists. To ask them what the economy is going to do, they give 6 different answers. So the Secretary of State, who's not a lawyer, said the same thing that Michelle, whatever her name was, who is a lawyer, said, the Assistant Attorney General. So I would like to see warn the meetings because it doesn't cost anything. That's just...
Does this require board action?
Well, I'd like to know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, so so you're making a motion. Can we take board action on this motion?
I don't think there's a motion. and I don't-
There's not a motion. This is just an open discussion that we've had.
I mean, I'd like to read the final sentence, or the final sentences in the court decision. The dismissal for lack
I
of
just
subject.
put the statute in the chat.
Yep, thank you. This is the court case that decided it. The dismissal for lack of subject matter jurisdiction is reversed. The matter is remanded with instruction to the court to enter a declaration that the open meeting law does not apply to labor negotiations between a district school board or its designee and the employees of the district. So obviously, we can make a determination that we're going to warn this, but there is nobody that's going to bring us, you know, people can make complaints, but this has been decided by the Supreme Court of the state of Vermont. And that's what they said. The open meeting law does not apply to labor negotiations between a district school board or its designee and the employees of the district. I think that's pretty clear. Our attorney came to us with the advice that we do not have to warn those meetings. I don't care if we warn the meetings, I will. I can tell you that our association in this building was very upset when they realized that we had warned the meetings at any point in time, because they took great offense that we overstepped what they considered to be a court decision, that negotiations were not ever going to be in any way, shape, or form attached to the open meeting law. Now, I will warn the meetings, or our committee can warn the meetings. I really don't care. But I disagree, and our attorney, the board attorney, has disagreed too. But the board can decide something different.
And I say the negotiations be done in executive session. That's what the whole point of that thing was.
Yeah, but it's not what it says.
I'm not going to sit and argue. The bottom line, this is the Assistant Attorney General.
How about we
CC the Attorney General.
make a motion that the negotiation committee warns the meetings, and then we can have a grievance with the staff. We can do that. That's
Why would you have
fine.
a grievance with the staff?
Because they are objecting to the fact that we are warning the meetings. They said they don't apply, open meeting law does not apply. Maybe they will back off, I don't
Their
know.
negotiations is not taking place in an open meeting.
They object to the fact that anything is even having to go into executive session, because they consider that a board decision to go into executive session to do these. And they don't think it's a board decision to go into executive session to do negotiations, because it is not an open meeting.
Okay, I move that all committee meetings be warned properly 48 hours in advance. And in negotiations, in case of negotiations, the negotiations, actually you retire to executive session, have all the negotiations, and then come out. Those are secret. That's what the Attorney General, Assistant Attorney General recommended.
Okay. When I asked the question, just so that everybody is aware, the question was, "Morning, Pietro. A question has come up from a board member that I would appreciate response to. Please include the applicable case info if possible. Are employee negotiations subject to the open meeting law?" His answer, 3 words, "They are not. Here is the case that decided it."
Hold on, before you go on, since there was an official motion, I want to go through the second
that's
and the
fine.
discussion.
Can
So-
I just have the wording for the motion exactly, please?
And I think,
That's you, Bruce.
what is the, Bruce, you made a motion. Can you just clarify what the motion is?
The motion is that all committee meetings be warned properly, and in the case of negotiations, the actual negotiation takes place in executive session.
In the case of negotiations committee?
Yes.
I have a point of order. I'd like to remove the word properly, because there's no indication that we're doing it improperly. So I would ask, my point of order is that we change the language that meetings be warned as per the following procedure, that we omit the word properly.
How about if we just focus on negotiations, because every other committee meeting
Yeah,
has
we
to
do.
follow these laws.
We follow open meeting law.
So-
According to statute is what it's talking about.
Yep.
So can you, rather than say all committee meetings, because that's already implied, but can you specify for negotiations, since that's the one that is under
I would be
question?
happy to just say all committee meetings are warned. And then negotiation, you can go into executive session.
With the exception of that's the conflict. The conflict is specifically negotiations. So are you making a motion that negotiations be warned, since that is contradictory to what the state says?
That's contradictory to what the Pietro says.
No, it's
No.
contradictory to what the Supreme Court said.
So what you're asking is for a motion that's contradictory to what is written on the
Well, that's where the
court
court
case.
Yeah,
case is
decision.
the
listed.
court case law, and goes against the recommendation from Pietro?
Yes.
And goes against the recommendation of our lawyer. That's why you want to be really specific about what your motion is.
Can I just throw something in real quick? Can we just keep it as simple as, let's warn negotiation meetings following, let's warn negotiation meetings
Here.
as if,
Period.
as if they were, or period, yeah, even better, just leave it there. Let's warn negotiations meetings.
That we warn
Just keep it simple.
negotiations committee.
Okay, then we can do period right there. I mean,
Well, I was going to say, as per Michelle Anderson, Assistant Attorney General.
I'd say keep just period there. It's simple, warn them. We either warn them or we don't. And that's the
that's your
question.
thing, so you wanted them warned. Okay.
Yeah.
So there is a motion. Is there a second?
Sure, I'll second it for purposes of discussion.
Okay, it is now in discussion. We discussed it a little bit before. Did you want to read a little bit more?
I think I read it.
Is there anybody else that wants to discuss this
I
further?
just have one question. In one of the emails that you had, I believe it was from not the first email that you read, was it the suggestion to go by what our attorney, as the school board attorney,
No.
suggested? Well, maybe I misheard that part. I thought that's what
No.
the first
I can
person
read it again.
suggested.
But her take on the law.
Not the attorney general, but
No,
the,
that was her.
Secretary of
That was her.
State.
Secretary of State just said he would warn the meeting, go into executive session, and tell people if you're going to be in executive session, so it wouldn't come all the way down here and sit. She said she would do the same thing, and if you aren't satisfied with it, to file a complaint, and 10 days later, they would look into it. So we could go that route too, but that was ridiculous.
And the warning that I'm understanding is that there's a chance the teachers union and the support staff union may grieve this, citing this law.
And there's a chance they won't.
Yep.
Can I throw something in? I know I'm not a board member.
We're a
If
former
I can
president.
contribute to the discussion. I wonder, because a complaint is the email you quoted said that normally we don't answer questions like this. We really, we look at complaints that are filed and we make decisions. So filing a complaint is a way to get a decision. That's a pathway. It's maybe not the best pathway, but it's there. If we think that the association is going to be very frustrated, I wonder if it's worth having some conversations with the association, clarifying what their concern is, and exploring that option for a complaint. It's already happened. We can file a complaint now, right? And we can say, we don't think open meeting law has been followed. Please make a decision on this, and we can get the final word coming down. Not a, here's what I would do, but we really just hear complaints. Let's make it a complaint. That buys us time to talk to the association, really figure out what their challenge is, and in a little while, we've got a final decision. I know that part of the challenge is there's a lot of interpretation here, and we're talking about case law versus statute versus some professionals that we're calling up and emailing in Montpelier. I wonder how we can all come together on this and do this in a way that doesn't strain our relationships, but we can get to what the right thing to do is, and we can keep doing productive work. Now we'll be quiet. Thank you.
Liz has her hand up.
I think there's a hand up.
Yeah, I have my hands up. I just, Brian, I really appreciate your contributing that. So I have, the Vermont Education Law book right in front of me, and, I don't think anyone on this board is a lawyer, and we're certainly, not here to make legal decisions. And so I support Brian's proposal that I don't agree that we should file a complaint, Bruce. I would ask that folks that have a concern file a complaint so that, we're doing this appropriately. We're not creating work for ourselves. This isn't our complaint. This is someone else's complaint. They should file. I think there's a process for this. And that way a decision can be reached. Because I know there's a lot of language in its Vermont statutes. It's 1:310 through 1:314, and I put 1:314 in the chat. So it's several pages of statute, and honestly, the language is such that this is out of our hands, right? This needs to be decided upon legally. So I would ask that whoever has the concern file a complaint so that a decision can be reached via the protocol that is in place.
Do we really need another complaint against the board?
No, they would be filing it to whoever you called. You're the community member who wants to see this being warned would be filing complaint to Montpelier to hopefully Montpelier can straighten this out.
The complaint would be that we aren't following the law, or that we are following the law.
The complaint would be that we're not following open meeting law in regards to negotiation meetings.
What?
And we're not following open meeting law in regards to negotiation meetings. And there have
But to be
been,
clear, that's not substantiated, so we're looking for substantiation.
it's a complaint, yeah, and that office would make the determination. And we've had that happen before, I think years ago, there were open meeting law complaints, absolutely. And then what happens is, say we were to be found in violation of open meeting law, we would be given a period of time to fix that. In other words, next negotiation meeting, we do what they tell us to do. And that would be as far as I'm aware in statute, then you're done with that complaint. You have made the recommended action to fix what you're doing, and you just keep doing that, and then the complaint never comes up again. If
And
that
the
makes
union
sense.
can't say anything because it came from Montpelier.
Yeah. So there's not punitive action necessarily. You're given that opportunity to solve the problem based on what you're told. So, and that's happened in the past with the boards, I think. I think before my time actually being an administrator. Oh, I thought I heard a hand
I put
pop
my
up.
hand back up because I want to read 1 VSA 312 subsection, boy. Well, I'm not going to go there. Someone else can find this subsection. I'm reading 1 VSA 312. It says the template of all regular meetings subject to this section shall be clearly designated by statute, charter, regulation, ordinance, bylaw, resolution, or other determining authority of the public body. And this information shall be available to any person upon request. The time and place of all public hearings and meetings scheduled by all executive branch. Okay, that's not relevant. So the thing is the language is so broad that this has to go to state legal counsel. This is a statutory issue that we need legal counsel to address.
Can I call the question?
Before you do, can I have a question?
Yeah.
Bruce, the individual or individuals that came to you and said they're not warning this, so we don't know what's going, is that the case? They're not listening to, they're not finding out that there's...
They didn't know the meeting because it was only warned 24 hours in advance. That's what they said.
Okay.
And they were going to go to a meeting. That's all I know. I didn't start this thing.
I'm curious there. And question two, if you warn a meeting and if you call the meeting to order, is there, as in a normal executive session, is there a time frame that we came out of executive session at whatever time it was, no action taken? Is that something that also goes on?
You would, yeah,
You-
because you couldn't report anything. You
No.
couldn't do
no,
anything.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you'd have to just state, we came out at this time and that was it.
Yeah, every meeting would be immediately public input, executive session, no action taken, pretty much, because I don't think we'd have anything legally beyond that.
Nope, no minutes, no nothing.
Enough for me?
Okay, so I'm gonna call the question, and Bruce's one is that we start warning the negotiations meetings. Am I correct on that? Yeah, period. All in favor, raise your hand. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wait a minute, you have to do a roll call.
Okay. I have everybody listed. Okay. Adrian.
No.
I'm a no.
Yes.
Yes.
Doug.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
No.
Sam
No.
and Liz.
I'm a no.
Okay, I got 4 to 6.
Yes.
So no. No's have it. Bruce, I would highly recommend that any community member follow the route that Brian mentioned
I'm
to
sure
file
there'll
an
be-
official
I'm
complaint.
sure there'll be a complaint filed.
And then we, at least now, then we have a ground to stand on against the teachers' union. So, or against the union if they file a grievance. So, thank you for bringing it up. I think we're all clear on that one now, good.
Still
Hoping.
clear as mud, but hey.
Clear as mud, but at least there's possible actions and there was a vote. We are now at Transact Other Legal Business. Do we have any other legal business?
I wanted to mention to new board members that are courses that the VSBA has for new board members. And when you got your initial packet, you got so much stuff, so save it all, because you'll need it. But if you want to sign up, it doesn't cost anything. You know, maybe the district has to pay something, but it's really valuable, so you know what's going on. And I would also like to bring up that perhaps this board would do well to work with perhaps the VSBA that offers services on boards that are having some difficulties coming to agreements on things. And they also have, I guess, they work through board process with boards. They, especially boards that have new members, have a lot of new members, have contentious issues coming up. They have all sorts of consulting work. And I would suggest maybe we investigate that. Whoever's chair can communicate with Sue Siglowski. In fact, she might be meeting or reaching out to us because they have a new person coming on board who's going to be doing a lot of board work. He hasn't started yet.
Okay. Any other further business?
I'll throw one thing in. At the last meeting, we didn't put it on the agenda, but we talked about trying to set dates to continue bylaws work and board goals work. So I thought maybe, actually, I was going to wait till
And actually, that's something that the
Sorry.
VSBA would also work with us on if we wanted somebody to help
I
us
jumped the gun, that was
finalize
agenda building.
our,
Sorry.
Brian's just so eager.
I know.
Well, I am bylaws and goals work. I don't know, I'm going to piggyback on that one, since it was brought up. Do we want to keep putting it back into the agenda, or do we want to try and address this a different way? Because we've tried it within our regular board meetings.
It might help new members to do more of a retreat style where you can do more than 20 minutes of work that new folks might have a tough time jumping
Personally
into.
leaning toward that way. Would it be appropriate to
pick a Saturday?
pick a Saturday?
Can we maybe,
I strongly, I support that. Sorry, Andrea.
that's okay, Liz. Can we maybe do it next meeting when hopefully Paul is here too?
Oh, set dates when
Yes,
Paul's here?
set dates, because then we'll have everybody. Because I'm starting to feel a little bad that Paul's not president, we're
think-
making all the
Actually, I
changes.
think we can email Paul a date. Can't we schedule via email?
Well, or, yes, we can schedule via email. That's a reasonable communication to have by email.
Okay.
Or we could set a tentative date, and if it doesn't work, then we could change it. But we, at least, all of us would have it in our schedules.
Yeah.
At least that's 10 of us down.
Yeah. Just-
No, I agree.
Just saying.
I mean, there's an awful lot for him to be catching
yeah,
up on.
A lot changed and.
Month. My wife didn't put my daughter's dance competitions in the calendar.
In your phone, huh?
In my calendar yet, so, which is, I'm either going to be completely free or booked. I think I'm booked on the 26th. I think it's the one that I'm going to.
We have the 12th and the 19th coming up.
I have to wait a minute for my calendar.
And that's if we want to do it this way. I mean, we're still kind of discussion, so.
Yeah, I believe we should do it on a Saturday. We need to do it on a Saturday, because trying to do it for an hour before the meeting or after the meeting, obviously, we haven't got it done. And here we are, almost a year later, still trying to figure out about our bylaws. And, you know, and I said this the other day, and I'll say it again, we're interviewing superintendent candidates, and they should say, so what are your goals? And we'd have to say, well, we're still working on them, but thank you for asking. So, you know, I think it's important. I don't, is it going to be a Saturday where every single person can make it? Maybe not. Maybe not. Some of us have lives, and that's okay. But we need to do the best we can to try to include everybody, and I get that. But if someone can't make it, it's okay. Because we need to get them done.
Yeah.
And we're close.
And
So do we want to,
and the board has to approve the bylaws and the goals. So that's what it's going to come down to. So if you're not there at the meeting, you still get an opportunity to approve them.
If we want to do it this month, and we do it for the 12th, that means we have the 16th. I mean, that has a potential of them getting voted on.
I would put out again that I think
are
maybe,
folks available on the 12th?
well, I was going to say the new guy at VSBA is starting on the 16th. I'm still pushing for, or at least mentioning again, that I think we could use somebody that would help moderate our conversations and feed us through. And I think we could get all the goals and the board bylaws worked on all in the same day, along with getting to know each other and maybe hashing out some stuff.
So actually a moderator from,
Adrian, can we do that but can we do it this month? Because I agree with Len. Like,
I know, I do agree, but,
and we're close on both.
right. I mean, as I said, he hasn't started, he's starting on the 16th. We are close on both, so maybe we would review all that stuff with somebody.
I'm wondering what,
Do we have to pay them?
Well, we got a lot of value out of our superintendent search. I was,
That wasn't my question. Do we have to pay them?
I would imagine, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's all I wanted to know.
Oh, yeah, I don't think they're going to just come and play, just, yeah.
What if we give them
So
food?
can I?
I don't think that's gonna be enough.
Are folks available on the 19th?
I am not.
well, we don't know if the other gentleman of it would be available on the 19th. That's,
Well,
if he starts on the 16th.
I don't think that's anybody's interest. Nobody's expressed interest, so we'll move on.
Let's pick a date.
I'm kind of going on the 12th, and your idea I don't think is a bad idea, but I'm wondering if we...
Well, we don't have to do it for goals and all that
I don't
kind of
think-
stuff.
I think
We can meet
We can
otherwise.
review that later.
Yep.
But I say the 12th as a tentative.
March
I will
12th?
not be present.
March 12th.
Okay.
We can do it hybrid, I guess. Hopefully, maybe we can hit up somebody who knows, who can help us get lunches.
I wonder who that would be.
Ta-da.
I have to talk to the wife, I work for her.
Okay.
I think that we would pay for our lunch,
I understand.
EJ.
I'll go somewhere.
I blame Len. He put it in my mind the last time in the last meeting. I'm like, I really want one of grinders. Okay.
All right, March 12th, 9 to 12?
Can I get like a raise your hand if that?
So I will be making your grinders,
Oh.
because
Andrew's on the schedule.
I work every Saturday.
So if it's Saturday,
I will
you
not be
can't.
present, but I will make your grinder for you.
You're going to deliver too?
No, I don't know if I can get out of
You
the
can
store.
deliver, you stay an extra hour, this is your lunch.
So do you work every Saturday? So I mean, the fact that we're trying to meet on a Saturday means that you can't come.
Every weekend
Okay.
until 1.
Yeah, and your boss is really mean and won't let you out, right? That's
I
what
mean, it doesn't
hear.
have to be a Saturday. It could be a Sunday too. But I mean, that's
Wait,
usually.
are you working till 1, Andrea?
On Saturdays,
Start at 2.
Why don't we meet after 1?
I booked every
If that's all right,
Saturday.
you want to meet
this
after?
month.
Okay, yeah.
Even after 2? Starting at 2? Go.
Saturdays are out.
Oh, you got a slave driver for a boss.
No, I work and then I have other.
No, I know. I'm kidding.
She has a life.
Horrible.
Well, you'll be able
So
to.
Andrea, would you feel badly if we moved ahead and booked the 12th in the interest of just wrapping this work up?
Go right ahead, as long as you keep me posted.
Well, and you have to vote on it anyway.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's not like anything gets approved.
Okay,
Yeah, no, that's fine.
What times?
so in the interest of moving everything forward, let's, can we agree to the 12th, 9 to 12?
9 to 12.
Sounds reasonable.
12, 9 to 12?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll spend half of the time on goals work and the other half of the time on bylaw work.
Yeah, we're pretty close on both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We really are.
Yeah.
I think we should be able to finish up.
And I think.
Before noon. Be done before noon, probably.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, hopefully. So then we'll just crash the store and visit
Well,
Andrea
if you-
and give her an update.
That's a nice idea.
If you make it so we can't eat until we're done.
We'll be done very
There's
fast.
that too.
And we have to pick up our own lunch.
Walk in this
I will
door
not
saying,
deliver.
aye.
I usually can't leave anyway.
All right, so what's the next one?
And we can all look forward to the fact that it's daylight savings time the next day.
Yes, thankfully.
Okay, are we?
Okay. Yeah.
I just have a question about minutes. What documents do you want to include from the open discussion? Do you want me to include anything in minutes?
Bruce, what do you want to include from your discussion in the minutes? Do you want to include any of the documents that you read? Or are you okay with just
I'm
keeping the
fine
vote?
just saying the Assistant Attorney General recommended we do this.
Is that good enough? Send the,
If you want a name, I'll give you a name, but
That being said,
Well, did agenda building actually happen for the next meeting, the 16th, though?
nope, we haven't got to that yet. We have a retreat scheduled, which is awesome.
Yep.
We have, and that needs to be warned and everything else in public, okay. Executive session?
Location?
Oh, location.
Oh, and I don't, yeah, can we not quite move on from agenda building just yet, please?
On to agenda building? We haven't even
No,
gotten to it
can we
yet.
not move on from agenda building just yet? I've got some things I'd like to.
No, we haven't even made it to agenda building.
Gotcha.
Because, as Adrian put it, the location for the retreat,
We want to just meet here? Or are we talking about doing it virtually or hybrid?
If you're doing hybrid here, makes tons of sense, yeah.
Do hybrid here.
I think that's the only way we can do it.
You can try and figure something else out if you want.
No. Okay.
hey,
Okay.
if the thing goes through on Tuesday and we do our meeting on the 9th, we may even be able to do that with the masks.
It's true.
There's that potential.
Easier to eat.
Well, you can always eat.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I am now moving off Transact Any Other Legal Business, now that I think we've have everything squared away for the retreat. And we are now onto agenda building.
Okay, so, I have two things on my radar. One is, we had talked about doing notes, writing notes to teachers for Teacher Appreciation Week, which is May 2nd to May 6th. So I just want to be sure that we carve out time leading up to that week during which we can write personal notes. So, Brian, we will need names of staff, and we will have to figure out the cards on which we're writing maybe little thank you notes, but just little personalized notes. Everyone writes a note, dear whomever, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for all that you do on behalf of our students, that sort of thing. And then the other thing I want to bring up, can we do a public presentation and a board discussion and some training around test scores and what they mean? Because, you know, we are being asked about the significance and purpose of test scores, whether local or state or national or regional or what have you. And I think it's important that we all be on the same page with respect to what do test scores mean. You know, there is misinformation going around about, you know, whatever. There's misinformation going around, and I think it's really important that we be informed. So can we put that on our radar, please? Thank you.
Liz, for the 16th, or just sometime not too far from now?
I would say whenever it makes sense so that we're not having super long meetings.
Yep.
Right? Like whenever it makes sense so that things are balanced, you know? And you know, such that folks have enough time to prepare whoever's presenting.
Okay, so, did you want something actually on the agenda for Teacher Appreciation Week, or just that we need to hand those out so that you get, we'll keep it on the agenda, and that way you can even say, here's what it is, here's what your responsibility is.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, and that's,
Yep.
CJ, thank you for that, right. Like it could be like everybody has to take home X number of cards and just get it taken care of and then bring it back to such and such destination. You know, however we want to do it.
Okay, well, we'll put it on the,
PTOs, you know, we might want to actually just, you know, add capacity to our PTOs, in which case we need to know when they're meeting, where they're meeting, all of that. It doesn't matter how we do this, it's just something that we've discussed and I want to be sure that we follow through.
anything.
I think with test scores, honestly, that could be a community conversation, right? I don't know.
Yep.
Just throwing out ideas.
It wouldn't hurt to have it out farther. We'll probably have a policy to approve. Anything else?
Do you want to hear from principals? It's been a while since you've heard from them.
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Be nice.
Not quite an agenda, no, we're doing everything hybrid, so it's here. I don't know if I want to have it here. I want the board to visit schools somehow. I think just a
Rotate
discussion
meetings
on
again?
how we can make that happen.
Yeah, we had said we were going to start talking about it in spring, when things had calmed down a little bit and the weather was better, because nobody ever wanted to go to Shrewsbury in the winter.
I
So
did it
this
for
would be a
many,
good
many
time.
years.
I'd also like to, lift up the fact that folks are interested in, hearing from their principals and hearing from their building leadership on social media. So, folks even in the community can lift stuff up, like, oh, this is what's happening, right, that sort of thing. So, there is an interest for that.
As a part of an agenda item, or just? Or on agenda building, so did you need an item for that?
Can we absorb it at the
I'm really
next community engagement? Let's, if I take that at community engagement and perhaps bring something out to report, we had kind of discussed it.
Okay.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
Okay, nice long meeting. Any other agenda items? Okay, hearing none. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Well, do we
Wait, hold
have a
on.
need for
Do we need
executive session?
executive session?
Just
Is there a
check.
need for an executive session?
I'm not aware of one, but
Okay. Sorry. Okay, thank you. Still learning. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved. Approved by consensus at
9:20.
9:21.